NorthJerseySports.com's original multimedia series talking all things basketball across North Jersey. This is our second episode of the 2017-2018 basketball season here in North Jersey. I am Corey Doviak, being joined by my right-hand man. He is the ball game himself, Richie Barton. What's going on, Richie B?
Not much, just staying inside, keeping warm. Watching a ton of basketball, watching a ton of Netflix. I mean, what else is there to really do?
Yeah, I mean, you knew an episode was coming tonight. I haven't stepped foot outside, I think, all day pretty much, and that's even to shovel. I had my wife out doing that. How about that, Richie B? The wife out shoveling.
That's impressive, I got to tell you.
So I am free to do this show tonight, and we got a good one for you here. We're going to talk to Hackensack head coach Aaron Taylor, the boys head coach Aaron Taylor. The Comets are off to a 6-1 start, looking like one of, if not the best public school team in North Jersey, certainly in the top handful. And we're also going to talk to Westwood head coach Charlie Collis. You got to call them the Fighting Cardinals, Richie B. They just, they lose a Division I player 2 years ago, lose the heart of the program last year, come back this year. He's got a real program over there, not just a team on a year-in, year-out basis. They're the Fighting Cardinals.
No doubt about it. And, you think with, Gate Hines Clark having left 2 years ago, you thought you'd be okay with Samantha McClutchy, ended up having a great year. Then they lose McClutchy. Now it's kind of like, where's this team going? But they just keep on playing defense, grinding you out, and they find ways to win. And, we'll talk to him more about it because who wants to hear me talk about it?
Yeah, exactly. He actually knows what's going on within the program over there. So we will get to that. Should mention a couple of other standout things here before we get to our interviews. From your perspective, being the computer guru that you are nowadays, sitting there staring at the screen, looking things up, everything else, just some other teams and events that might have caught your attention over this busy holiday period that got, with all the holiday tournament stuff and now moving back into the regular season?
Well, one team that really has caught my attention is the Elmwood Park. Well, I'll tell you what, Elmwood Park boys and girls basketball. Boys basketball, girls basketball, let's start with girls basketball. Girls basketball, I mean, they've been a dormant program for, a bottom of the league type of program for a number of years. And they've got a couple of freshman guards over there, and they're starting to win some games. And they're going to be, in a year where, Glen Rock and Rutherford have maybe, slid back to the pack a little bit. Elmwood Park's got a shot. They're going to give teams like Glen Rock and Rutherford and Eastern Christian a real problem. On the boys' side, 3 huge wins last week, highlighted by a buzzer-beating win to beat Rutherford by 2, and then beating Fairlawn on a couple of free throws by Simon Hanna with 3 seconds left to win the tournament title over Fairlawn. Elmwood Park is, Graham Rodriguez and Justin Lopez. I mean, they're one of the best public school backcourts you're going to see at a small school.
Elmwood Park has had a sneaky good boys basketball program over the years. I mean, when they just get a couple of players, we've covered some great games there over the years. It's been a little bit slim last couple, but seems like they're making the rebound here again.
Yeah, Kevin Towie over there. Normally I only see him randomly at Seton Hall basketball games. That's the occasional game I cover.
Yeah, why don't you go cover a game?
I got to tell you. Yeah, I know I got to get out there. But he's done a real nice job, because, they win, 15 to 17 games every year, and anytime they play up, they represent themselves well, and they're going to be a factor come state. I think they meet the Jambo, and they're going to be a factor come state tournament time.
Yes, and I always see Elmwood Park in that first round of the Bergen County Jamboree. They make it often. I mean, I think 2 years ago I saw them lose to Riverdale in the first round, and I think the year before that I also saw them lose to somebody else. So he probably hates when I show up in the gym. But Just the fact that they're in the Jambo.
He's on the back of a long line of people when you show up in the gym.
It's so true. You should see the looks I get walking into gyms nowadays. Like, oh, my God. In fact, we were going to do a show last night, and I invited Joe Sandberg, the Roundpo head coach, to come on the show, and I texted him. He texted back. He said, I have practice tonight, and the last time you had me on, I lost by 30 to Cresskill, so no thanks. So it has spilled into the multimedia portion of NorthJerseySports.com. You mentioned Elmwood Park. We're going to get to Aaron Taylor here in just a second, but the NJIC and South Bergen County, I love what they're doing down there because, with the NJIC football tournament, they're really creating ways to separate themselves from the bigger public schools and, of course, the parochials. So, to make to give themselves an identity, they're just coming up with innovative ways to do it. One of them is this weekend, January 6th it's called the Battle at Becton. So it's at Henry P. Becton Regional High School. It's the South Bergen Classic. You got 5 games in a row, 10 teams, and actually 9 of them are Southern Bergen County teams. You got Hasbrook Heights against Lodi. You got Rutherford against who's the Vikings down there? I don't know. I just see the logo in front.
North Arlington.
You got Woodridge against your beloved Elmwood Park Crusaders at 3 o'clock. 5 o'clock, Wayne Hills is the lone outlier, not from Southern Bergen County, obviously, but that's going to be a good game because they're playing St. Mary. And then the nightcap is Becton against Lyndhurst. So I'm going to pick out a couple of those games and probably go cover them on Saturday. But again, another opportunity for the small schools in the NJIC in Southern Bergen County to showcase themselves, and it's drawing attention. I mean, I'm going to go. So it's good stuff. But that's the small schools in Southern Bergen County. Now we're going to talk to one of the big boys. The head coach of the Hackensack Comets is Aaron Taylor, and he joins us on the ball game. Coach, thanks for coming aboard.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No, we appreciate it. Happy New Year to you. All happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it is. And just looking forward to talking some basketball here with you. Let's start with the generalities. Off to a 6-1 start against as tough a schedule as I'm sure you could find yourself here early in this season. Just give us the overall state of the state of Hackensack basketball right now.
We expected, based on what we had this year, we expected to have a level of success, and we wanted to challenge ourselves by, beefing up the schedule and, playing some top competition as much as possible. So, we started out 6-0, and our last game we had a loss, but I was talking to some of the assistant coaches, and they said if we before the season started, if we said we'd be 6-1 at this point, we'd take it, and I'm sure we would. So we're not going to complain.
Yeah. I mean, it lost against Kennedy, but it could have been any of the teams you played. So to get out of there, 6 wins in 7 games against that schedule, that's a great start. Richie B, you're the bulldog on the show. You want to ask some tough questions?
Well, what I think is interesting about Hackensack is that, even early in the season, you won all types of games. You won kind of the low-scoring games. You put up 74 on Teaneck. Do you feel that this team is built for the long haul because we can win playing pretty much any type of style as long as we execute?
Yes, I would agree with that. We have really good size this year for a public school, at least. We have some really good guards and front court players. We have we're pretty deep. I think we can, we can go 7 or 8 guys on a regular basis, but we could extend that to 10, 11 if needed to. When we, get in foul trouble, we still have guys that we trust. Some younger guys that can come in and compete and hold down the fort for us. And we can play a few different styles. So we can play up tempo, we can slow the game down, we can be in the half court set. We don't necessarily want to play that way, but we can adapt to that style as well. So there's a lot of advantages to our roster and what we can do in the course of games.
And it's an experienced roster, too. I mean, part of the intrigue in the offseason, and Richie B, I'll handle the hard questions since you decided to, duck. a lot of the intrigue in the offseason was going to be where was Atiba Taylor Jr. going to play this year. There were reports that he was going here, going there. As it turns out, on opening day, he was on the Hackensack roster. That's a great, I guess, keep, for lack of a better term, for you. How about just having Atiba? And was there drama, or was it, just, we'll play with who we got? How did that whole thing shake out?
No, there wasn't any drama. I would like to think that I have a really good relationship with Atiba. He, has always since middle school wanted to be in Hackensack and play for Hackensack. I think, I think we've talked in the past about, the AAU scene and, just the private schools getting into players' ears or their parents' ears and giving them this expectation of what they need to do in order to be able to go to school or get a Division I scholarship. Atiba's been, despite all of what it looks like from the outside, he's been very loyal. And, he doesn't always get to make the choice. So I think that that lends to a lot of the movement. But if you were to ask him, if he's happy in Hackensack and has wanted to be here the entire time, and I think if it was just up to him, that would have been the case. And I think also maybe it's the last name has something to do with it. So I think he likes that I'm a Taylor as well. So
yeah, now he's going to start wearing Chuck Taylor sneakers too.
Yeah.
But
Coach,
there was never any drama. I mean, if he wasn't going to be here, I still thought we would be very successful. Obviously, I think we could go a lot farther with him. His friends are here. They all get along, so they were happy that he was going to be with us and playing this year. And it was as smooth as something as this can be.
Yeah, and I listen. One of the reasons why Rich and I love you having on the show is for your honesty, and I think you handle that question perfectly. And I also think that it really does illustrate what a kid of his talent has to go through. I mean, you get pulled a million different directions, and it's not easy on the kid. And it's not just him. I mean, there are stories of, Leandre Washington going to Teaneck, to Roselle Catholic, back to Teaneck. And, sometimes the kids' wishes get lost in the shuffle a little bit. And it sounds like Atiba, again, from the outside here, it sounds like he put his foot down and said, I'm staying home. So, and great for the kid.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Good. All right, we'll do it. Go ahead, Richie B.
Coach, obviously, someone else getting attention is DJ Saliba. And
yeah, Richie, start again, Richie. We didn't hear you.
I said, whatchamacallit? Now I lost myself here. We start over again or what? All right. DJ Saliba. I mean, Atiba's got a ton of attention. But DJ Saliba being not only a talented player, but now a more consistent player. Talk about how that really diversifies your offense. Because BJ last year had flashes of greens, but also flashes of disappearing at times. But he has been very consistent this year. And you need to have that if you're going to, make deep runs in the JMO and try to win a second title, too.
Yeah, exactly. BJ, he's developed, all aspects of his game, both on the offensive and defensive end. He is a multifaceted scorer. He can score from the three. Mid-range game is excellent. He has become bigger and stronger. He can post up, put it on the floor. There's not much he can't do at this point. And he came in with the mindset, and again, we talked about, we just talked about, the movement with Atiba and not sure if he's going to be here or not. So BJ came in with the mindset that he was going to be the primary guy and, was ready for that role, was ready to take over that position. He was capable of doing it last year, but understood the dynamic and was able to, be the second guy. So he came in this year with the mindset to be the first guy. And with Atiba coming back and, Atiba is a very unselfish player, and BJ is pretty much like his best friend. So he wants BJ to excel, and he's a point guard that can score the ball at a high level, but he's probably BJ's biggest cheerleader in terms of when he's doing well and he's scoring and the spotlight's on him. He's there cheering him on the most. Atiba's he's selected his school. He's going to Youngstown University next year, and so he's kind of set and content with. He doesn't really have to put on a show. He wants BJ to be solidified in terms of what he's doing next year. So he's kind of handed it over to him and say, do your thing, and we'll follow your lead.
Yeah, chemistry. I've watched your teams play since you took over that job, and chemistry, even in some sketchy circumstances, on the floor, always your kids share the ball, they hustle, they work hard. So, and you've had some great glue guys over the years too. Like Bryce Drakeford pops into mind immediately as a guy who just did a little bit of everything for you. How about one of those guys this year? We know BJ, we know Atiba. How about some of the other guys here that are making it work for you?
Torin Porti is a senior. He's played 3 years of varsity now, and he's a glue guy. He's the other guard that keeps things going. He learns how to pick his spots, and knowing the attention that BJ and Atiba are going to get, and has been able to contribute by being he's always been one of our best defenders. He still takes on that role, and then he picks his spots where he can score, and capitalizing on open looks, and scoring in transition off of defensive possessions and steals like that. We still have we start 5 seniors, so we have Chandler Williams returning, who's like 6'7". He might be 6'8" now. This was only his second year playing basketball, so we were able to get him to play last year, and just his growth over a year of playing organized basketball has been tremendous. So he's been our anchor in the middle, and one of the top leaders in the state and block shots so far this year, according to NJ.com. And then Razia Sorrell is still our Rodman.
Yep.
He's a double-double guy with his eyes closed, and he's going to, still be that force in the middle, in the inside that we depend on, and know that in big games he's always going to show up. And we had a new kid, Brandon Holkicks, who's a senior as well, and he's been great for us. Just a mature, skilled and athletic player that also plays in the front court for us, and has given us some depth in the front court. And just his leadership and his ability to communicate and talk to guys, and give them a stern talk when needed, and also encourage them and pick them up when needed as well. So he's been big for us.
Yes.
And then, we have a ton of young juniors and sophomores that can contribute at any time, and we're comfortable going with them when needed.
Yeah, those sophomores you talk about, I saw them last year in the Bergen County freshman tournament final. So the pipeline is deep at Hackensack right now, and that's good, and it's going to be good for years to come. Richie, I got a couple more questions for you, but I'm going to see if Richie B takes one of them. Go ahead, Richie.
I am. Well, I don't know if I'm going to take one of them, but I am going to ask you a question. Moving forward, I know later on in the month you have Newark East Side, a much improved Indian Hills team, and Bosco all back to back. To get through that portion of the schedule, what do you feel this team needs to improve upon, especially on the defensive end of the floor?
We need to be able to maintain our intensity throughout 32 minutes. We've played well defensively in spurts, but we haven't done it for an entire 32 minutes. And part of that is we are able to score the basketball this year. So sometimes I feel like knowing that we're going to score, we kind of take some plays off on defense So in that aspect, we need to improve. We also have been playing a few different defenses, and which is something that I like to do because it gives other teams different looks. But at the same time, when you're trying to prepare to be able to play a few different defenses, you're spending time on a few different things and thus not putting as much time into one thing that you can really hone and be able to master. So as time goes on and we're able to tweak our man-to-man and some of our zone sets and some of our presses and things like that, we will get better at it because we'll be able to spend the necessary time in practice that we need to in order to get better at those things.
Yeah, and how about in that vein too? You know, Richie mentioned Don Bosco. I mean, obviously Bosco, Bergen, looking good in Bergen County here. Probably the two co-favorites for a Jambo championship. But then, you know, St. Joe's has taken a step back. You guys seem to have taken a step up. Teaneck is Teaneck. I mean, I think it's going to be a dogfight this year to make it to the Final Four and then win the Jambo championship. How about your thoughts on, you know, how far, or at least, you know, goals? Are you talking to your kids about that? And then also, you know, maybe keeping an eye on what's going on in the section. And the other side, I know it's so early in the season to even be talking about this stuff, but I was there your first year when you went to the Group 4 state semifinals. And I'll say it for you, Aaron, you were robbed of a chance to win that Group 4 state championship. So you got some unfinished business, I'm sure. How do you feel about, you know, the prospects for this team and realistically how far you guys can go?
I mean, every year we always have the same goals in mind. You know, we want to win the league. We want to win a holiday tournament. We want to compete for a county championship, compete for a section, and be able to go further than that. This team has, we believe that it has what it takes to be able to do all of those things, if not some of them, and with the attempt to try to do all of them. So we are very excited about this year, and no, it's not too early. I'm already looking at the section and, you know, who's playing who and who's doing what, and, you know, obviously always paying attention to what Bosco and Bergen Catholic are doing. I like the idea of playing those teams or playing as many of those teams earlier in the year. You know, Newark East Side, it will be, you know, my guess is that Newark East Side will contend with Linden again in Group 4, North 2. And so we get the chance to measure ourselves against them, you know, prior to the state tournament to see, you know, if we're close, if we're better, or, you know, how far away we are.
Yep. And
same thing with a Bosco, you know, before the county tournament, playing against them, and, you know, they're the team that, you know, the team to beat per se. So if we're able to, you know, compete with them early in the season, then we kind of know where we are realistically going into the county tournament, and the same as going into the states. You know, Kennedy was 3-3 at the time that we played them on New Year's Day, but we knew that they're a very good team, and you know, the fact that they played some tough competition and it was at 500. You know, I told the guys that their back was against the wall, so, you know, that they were going to come out fired up, and if we weren't prepared, you know, we could face what actually happened, which was, you know, a tough Kennedy team that, you know, they played extremely well, but I also don't think that we were ready for that game that day. So it's a lesson learned.
Yep.
You know, you don't like to lose, but I think it's a lot easier to teach when you lose.
Yeah. Although I think it was John Thompson who once said, there's no such thing as a good loss. There's nothing I could learn from a loss that I couldn't have learned from a win. But I agree with you there, too. And plus, you know, you're 6-0, you're flying high, people are talking about you. A little reality check, especially at this time of the year, it's not going to hurt you in Jambo seedings and anything like that. So I take your philosophy, too. Plus, yeah, John Thompson's not coaching anymore, so where'd I get him? Last one I'm going to ask you, and you can handle it how you wish. How sweet, the win over Teaneck?
It was a nice win. You know, to downplay it, you know, I have a lot of respect for Coach Mark. You know, we talk preseason, we talk, you know, off season, we see each other at, you know, different events and things, and, it's always going to be a battle between Hackensack and Teaneck. Regardless of our records, it's just a rivalry. So it's always going to be, a great game and a great competitive match. So I think our obviously our guys took it personal. A lot of the players know each other. It's kind of different than when we played. So they're not necessarily enemies off the court, but they're going to compete like enemies on the court. So I did not, we knew we had a chance. It was good to, they're a good measuring stick. So being able to beat them in this early season, and wasn't expecting it to turn out that, in terms of the score, but it's just one game, it's just one win. We see them again on the 18th, and I'm sure they'll be ready, and we'll have to be ready as well.
Is that game at the 18th at your place or their place? I didn't even notice where the first game was.
It's at Teaneck. The first game was in the Christmas tournament in Patterson.
All right, so at Teaneck, that means I have to get there early to grab that one corner over there where I can plug in and enjoy the game. But I'm going to do it because I love me some Teaneck Hackensack basketball. That's for sure.
It's a 4:15 scheduled start. So
I'm going to have to get there at 2 o'clock now. I'll have to.
Yeah.
I'll bring my homework.
You definitely will.
Aaron Taylor, the head coach of the Hackensack Comets, one of our favorite guests here over the years on the ball game. No different tonight. Great stuff. We appreciate it. We always, you handle the tough question as well as anybody, and that's why we don't shy away from asking you them. So we appreciate that. Congratulations on the great start to the season, and keep up the good work, and we'll catch up with the Comets soon.
Thanks, Troy. I appreciate it. If that's the difficult questions I get, then you can call me anytime.
All right, Richie B, you heard that. He just threw down the gauntlet. We got to find some other ones, but we'll get our crack research department on it, and then we will have you back on our Jambo preview special. How about that?
That sounds great.
All right, Richie B, that was good stuff there with Hackensack head coach Aaron Taylor. And continuing on the theme of teams that broke out of the gates at 6-0, then lost their next game and had to suffer the indignity of us calling them directly after their first loss of the season. It is our pleasure to welcome in our next guest. He is the head coach of the Westwood girls basketball program. He is Charlie Collis. Coach, thanks for joining us here on the ball game.
Thank you very much for having me, and good to hear from you guys.
Yes, and, Richie B and I have made it a point this year that because we get blamed so often for losses, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Joe Sandberg turning down an appearance on this show because last time I had him on, he lost by 30 the next time out to Creskill. So we're flipping the script. We're getting you after a loss so that we can hopefully change the juju in your direction. How does that sound?
That sounds awesome. I mean, we're very happy where we're at, despite a loss. And we're always happy I'm always happy to talk to you guys and talk basketball.
It's just our way of giving back. I mean, we're in it for the kids. so Charlie, over the years we've had you on right when this thing was starting to happen. You had a Division I player in Jade Hines-Clark, followed up by Samantha McClutchy, and through the whole thing, I remember you saying, we're not just trying to be a team here. We're trying to be a program and that it's rebuilding. That's been put to the test with the graduation losses you've suffered over the last couple of years. To lose two players of that caliber, two all-timers in Westwood girls basketball history, and then to get out of the gate 6-0 and then, have 6 wins in your first 7 games here, I think it speaks volumes of where you have this program at this point. I mean, you expect Westwood to be good year in, year out, and you guys are good year in, year out.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot, because that is something that we've been working towards, building a program in here. And, that absolutely was something that we kind of put into the heads of our kids, where, we kind of felt that a lot of people were kind of counting us out. And, graduating, Sam this past year and losing Olivia Cassidy, another, losing a 6'1" player doesn't hurt you. So, a lot of people kind of down on us, and, we kind of put that in the minds of our kids, trying to get a little chip on their shoulder. And, we've felt, from the summer when we started playing together that, we have a pretty well-balanced team, and maybe not the, the Division I, the Division II player that you're talking about, the kind of standout player, but there's definitely talent on this team.
Yeah, and, departures leave space for someone else to emerge, and Rachel Bucinich, I mean, our guy J.C. Baumler was out covering you when you beat Riverdale in overtime, and Rachel Bucinich had a huge night for you. It's time to fill those shoes. I mean, obviously that was one game, and she did it that night. Has that been a constant this year, or has it been a bunch of different girls? I mean, we know, Carly Danziger, watched her during the soccer season. That's a kid every coach would love to have on the team. I mean, just a team player, a hustler, that kind of player. But, talk about some of the people who have, got this start to where you are and have taken on bigger roles and helped you.
Well, Rachel first has been she's been our most consistent player with a little more than 15 points, and she's averaging over 10 rebounds a game. And then, there's been, we have some depth this year. So we have Carly Danziger, who's scoring about 9 points a game, 3 or 4 assists a game. And, I think she's one of the best guard defenders there is. And then Shannon Monahan's been very quiet, not a heavy scorer, but the kid, puts out 7 or 8 rebounds, 4 assists a night, 4 or 5 points. And then we're also, we're starting 2 other freshmen in the lineup. Katie Gashler is about 6 feet tall, and she's scoring, I think, about 8 points a game right now. So she's finishing anywhere on a night from 7 to 12 points. And she's done a really nice job inside, kind of complimenting Rachel. And our fifth starter, Megan Rydell, she put up 14 points against Ridgewood, who's a pretty quality team. Is she going to score 14 points every night? Probably not. But she also plays some awesome defense.
Yeah, and she's a heck of a soccer player.
And
too.
that's the point that I want. Yes, she had a great year at soccer. I want to talk about this team defensively because it seemed like at times over the last couple of years, at times you would play solid defense, and at other times you gambled a lot because it seemed like this team felt, all right, we can get a bucket from Jade or especially from Sam when we need it, but with points at a premium, do you feel like this team defensively is a stronger unit?
Well, I think this group is especially strong defensively, without a doubt. We've kept a handful of teams. Our goal is to keep teams to single-digit quarters, and that our last game, that Paramus Catholic game. I think they were 10, 5, and 8, and then in that fourth quarter they blew up for 21. So we were, we were striving for that goal, and we've done. We look at our quarters across the board. We might have like 3 quarters where outside of that game that we've let up more than double digits in a quarter. They take a lot of pride in it. They do a lot of different things. They play some man, we play some zone and stuff, and they mix it up really well. And they've bought into it. And, with the depth, too, we got kids that can come off the bench. We got some forwards, a guard, kind of a small forward that can, eat some time and also, play some good defense, too.
Also, you have, just going through your roster here, names sound familiar from multiple sports. I think it starts at the top with Danny Vivino doing a great job as the athletic director, but just getting the kids to play other sports, it's almost a lost art. I feel like it's starting to come back a little bit. But do you put an emphasis on that? I mean, do you work with the soccer coaches, the softball coaches, whoever else it might be, to get kids, out of the rut of playing just one sport year round, or is that just the way it happens at Westwood at this particular period in time?
No, absolutely. In the summertime, like somebody like Carly Danziger, for 4 years, she's been a 3-sport athlete. She's a softball player as well. And she's pretty good at all 3 sports.
Yes, she is.
And, in that summertime, she's really good at communicating, saying, this is what I'm doing today, or, I'm saying, hey, I need you today, or I've got this game today. And, we've established that relationship as a group of coaches at the school, which Danny Vivino has done a great job of kind of facilitating and making sure that, everybody's sharing the athletes. And if a kid isn't a 3-sport athlete, then, they should definitely be a 2-sport athlete. Yep. That's kind of the minimum they should be in there. But, there's a handful of kids on that roster that do a lot of sports on our roster, I know.
Yeah, and that's the key. If you're going to be a successful Group 2 overall sports program, you gotta have them playing everything. Go ahead, Richie B.
You have a couple of tough games coming up. You're at Secaucus over the weekend, and then you're at Richfield Park, I believe, on Tuesday of next week. Two teams that play totally different styles. Secaucus is going to want to get up and down. Richfield Park kind of plays similar to the way you play. Talk about those games and what you feel your team needs to do to come out on top.
Well, yeah, we play Ramsey tomorrow. We're pretty, for all these games, we're pretty fired up because we don't want to we're not backing down from any challenge that's out there. And in regards to Secaucus, they're going to be, the pressure is going to be intense for 32 minutes, full court, half court, or there's even on offense, they're going to be flying up the court.
Yep.
If we can, they've got three fantastic players. If you can contain one or two of them, I think that makes a huge difference. And then, the last thing, for Secaucus, if you can handle that full court pressure and, get over that full court pressure and turn it into a half court game, we can, I without a doubt, we can kind of, take them to the fourth quarter and see where it ends up late in the game. And Richfield Park, haven't had a great chance to really look at them yet. I think they're 6-0 or 5-0 as well.
Breaking news on Richfield Park. They may throw the 1-3-1 at you.
And they seem to have a pretty balanced team too. I think they have 3 kids scoring double digits, so they're going to be a handful as well. But I haven't looked that far ahead yet to them. I know they're coming up.
Yeah, they're good. I saw Secaucus against Holy Angels in the Poli tournament. Holy Angels beat them by doing exactly what you said. Well, Holy Angels had the kind of point guard that could mitigate that pressure because Elena Polanco could take the ball and settle things down. And that's how they were able to come out on top. Secaucus does put a lot of pressure on you, and they do have 3 really good players in Damaris Rodriguez, Lindsay Mack, and help me, Richie, who's the other one?
Amanda Ulrich.
Yeah, Michelle Ulrich, too. So, that's an interesting game. I got to write that one down. I might be in the gym for that one. That sounds like some fun. All right, Charlie, so 6-0 start. You play in your own holiday tournament, which is a tough tournament. It's been getting tougher year after year. And you get into the final, you have a late lead against Paramus Catholic, a real good team who beat IHA on opening day. You had a late lead against them. So what do you take out of that? A tough late loss, but still showing what you guys can do against the real quality opposition. So I'm sure disappointed to lose, but probably some positives in there too, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got to work on, closing out the game and, playing our defense for, playing a 4-quarter game. And, you got to give a lot of credit to Paramus Catholic. They've beaten us, IHA, Ramapo, and Teaneck. They've got just as good of wins as everybody in the county, maybe except Saddle River Day and Immaculate Conception. PV has similar wins. I guess the difference is that PV's, basically convincingly crushed those teams for the most part.
Yep.
But they're, in my mind, they're at this point in the game, they're one of the top teams out there with the games they've played and demonstrated what they've done. So we are happy about it that we were right there with that team, and we think that we probably should have won that game, and we'd want that game back if we had to do it all over again.
Yep. Well, a good thing that can happen, because then you wind up with a situation like we had last year when I showed up in the small gym for the second half of the Pascack Hills game. Let's restart it from here. Let's do it over again. Richie B, you got one last one for the coach before we let him out of here?
Yeah, obviously everyone knows the story. You took the team over. They were 1-22 the previous year. Do you ever tell this team about that, saying, hey, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. Like, we're not that far removed. Like, we have to work hard every single day. Does that ever come up at all?
Charlie, have you ever said, hey, we used to suck?
I don't bring it up too often, but, when, especially in the preseason where you're like your second week in and it's pretty brutal on the kids, And, you know, they're like, oh, this is tough. And, you know, some of them have no idea. You know, you guys probably remember kids like Emily Molk and Noelle Coburn.
Yes.
Who they were on the 1-22 team, and then they were on, you know, a state section championship team. And some of our girls, like, you know, Carly and Shannon, they both played with Emily and Noelle. And it's a great way to kind of remind them of what those kids went through and what those kids had to do to put themselves in a position. And, you know, part of the reason that, you know, where, you know, our current players are at right now is for what those kids set up for them and what they've done and shown them to do. So we absolutely do remind them of that. And maybe sometimes I should remind them a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, Richie B, look at that. Now you can contribute to the Westwood girls basketball program there. You just gave the coach a good idea. Maybe your first one.
Yeah,
I like it.
I wait till teams are 1-22, and then I jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, Charlie, he's the worst. You know, we had, as I mentioned, we had Aaron Taylor on before, and, you know, I said, Richie B, ask him a tough question. He goes, yeah, you got Bosco coming up in a couple weeks. he totally dodged on me. He makes me do all the dirty work around here. I don't want to be the bad guy.
No, what am I, an investigative journalist now? I mean, we're talking about Burton County High School hoops here.
Richie,
you know,
I would settle for journalist. Forget the investigative part. I'd settle for journalist.
Makes two of us.
Anyway, we don't need to get Charlie Collis involved in our inter-scene battles here behind the scenes at NorthJerseySports.com. So let's just say this. Charlie, congratulations on the great start. We always appreciate you having on the show, and I will be in a gym soon. And also tell Carly Danziger, I haven't forgotten, I owe her a good NorthJerseySports.com t-shirt. I promised it to her after the state final soccer game when I felt like Westwood won that game, even though they lost the wall. It was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
So I'm coming, Charlie.
That was an awesome game. Thank you. I'll let her know, and thank you very much for having me on. Great to talk to you guys.
Always a pleasure, Charlie. Good luck.
You got it, Coach.
All right, Richie B. Great stuff there with Charlie Collis, the Westwood head coach, and also before that with Aaron Taylor. A snow day edition of the ball game in the books, Richie B. And the one thing I learned throughout this great half hour, 40 minutes, whatever it was, of scintillating high school sports, high school basketball talk was that I got a lot of work to do. Those guys brought up games. I want to be everywhere over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, that makes two of us, except I live nowhere near Bergen County, and I struggle to walk. But besides that, I am ready to go.
Yeah. Well, get in the car, wait till the snow melts, get in the car, get to a game, and we'll do this again. We will see you next week on the ball game.
Follow the leader.